out with our dumbbells. I'm using weighted towing balls. If you don't have these or dumbbells nearby, no worries. Grab a pair of soup cans, something that's no heavier than, say, 3 pounds. And we're going to get started, okay? So let's start off with our legs and feet about hip width apart, okay? Or better yet, maybe let's look and see about 1 inch of space between our 2 feet. Take a moment really quickly just to see the weight is equal on your feet, on your 4 corners across the entire soles of the feet. And the weights are just in your hands, helping you to connect those shoulders to the mid-back. So do a nice little roll down to warm up the spine. Going slow at first, going to round forward, peeling the spine into the sagittal plane, letting your head, neck, and the arms hang. If you want to bend the knees somewhat, feel free. Good, because we really just want to get that spine warmed up. And then take an inhale and rise back up sequentially, stacking the vertebra one by one so that the head is the last thing to float up. So once again, from exhale to lower down. Again, keep the weight on the heels and toes evenly. And let those eyes hang, crown of the head is hanging. Start to slowly roll up. And don't miss a single vertebra as you stack that spine, allowing the head to float up last. Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and take our stance now to a bit of a turnout. It's known as a first position. I want to go into some pliés straight away. So as you're exhaling now, we're not going to bow forward. Keep our shoulders over the hips. We bend the knees, spiraling the inner line of the inner thighs forward. Inhale, absorb the inner thighs to your midline to rise tall. So because it is a plie, we're not looking for a lot of depth when we go down. More important than anything else, and you're going to just assess this with your mind's eye, is as you're going down in the plie, you avoid your seat poking backwards. You want to avoid that chest tilting forward, okay? So depth is not the goal per se, but finding that low abdominal connection, that is where we want to kind of get to straight away. So we exhale to lower, drawing the belly button in and up. Inhale, find length through the back line of the legs and the torso as you rise up. Beautiful. What happens often when we're doing any kind of squat, or in this instance, a plie, the turnout, is sometimes it's easy for the knees to kind of fold in. When in fact, we're really looking for some precise tracking here. So maybe briefly glance down. See that your knees are tracking in line with big toe, second toe. Good. Establish that bone rhythm. External spirals, wrapping up out around the thighs. We're going to make sure we're not clenching or squeezing the glutes at any point. This is how we're going to live our low abs. We go for just one more time, and let's hold that plie. Fantastic. So from here, we're going to go ahead and just offer one arm up. I would probably not go too much higher than shoulder height, right? We don't need to bring it right by our ear right now. And then lengthen that right back down. I'm going to ask you to stay in that plie the whole while. Other side, if my left arm is going up, it's due to my left shoulder blade sliding down, and then we're going to bring that back down as well. Now you got the low abs still engaged. Remember, they're preventing the butt from sticking back, but now my upper abs are somewhat firing so that I don't flare my ribs forward as I lift the arms up. Beautiful, working unilaterally, and we have to also be a little careful we're not collapsing on the insteps of the feet. Again, the entire soles of the feet are bearing weight the same. We're going to layer on in just a moment. So the breathing is inhale as you float one arm up a little higher than shoulder or just to shoulder height. Now, as you take the right arm up, I want you to keep it on line level, but peel your right heel up. Notice my pelvis didn't change. Press with intention that right heel down at the same time. I'm sorry, press with intention that opposite left heel down at the same time the right arm lengthens down. So we're working opposite leg, opposite arm. And why are we doing this oppositional work? So that we activate what's called the cross-diagonal sling core activation. You probably feel this crisscross activation going on within your torso and pelvis as we're working with opposite leg, opposite arm here. Beautiful, excellent. Good. So think of that core inviting that heel to lift. Think of the shoulder blades sliding down to invite that opposite arm to lift. We're going to go for just one more, and then we layer on. Heel peels up. Weights on both feet the same, however. Let's hold it right there. From here, I want us to take our arms to what we call goalpost arms. Fantastic. Let's not lift the heels as high as we have been doing, but I'm going to invite us to lift the heels
about a 1/4 inch. You might not even see from your end that my heels are off about a 1/4 inch. Take a moment and feel the 10 toe cushions melting into the mat. Let's see if we're still spiraling the inner line of the inner thighs forward. Glutes are soft. We're going to keep those heels lifted. You're going to tilt your forearms forward just slightly, and then spiral the upper arm bones to take those arms back up. Beautiful. So we're going to maintain those shoulder blades stabilized, plugged into the mid-upper back. Also very important is, if you have the weights in hand, that you're not, I'm going to give you profile here, you're not letting those wrists break. Do you see this? Kitten paw syndrome. I want to keep those wrists long. That's going to make the work feel more deep in the shoulder cups and in the mid-back. Good, excellent. We have a nice firm grip. Our heels are pressing together. And again, we have our heels lifted maybe a 1/4 inch off of the mat. Okay, good. Don't grip the toes. Let the toes melt down. We got 3 more to go. Beautiful. Still spiraling the inner line of the femurs forward. Additionally, we're spiraling the upper arm bones. Good. Let's go for 2 more. Beautiful. We're taking it down to a 4-point kneel and 1 more. And let's lower those heels, rise all the way up. Woo! That's a lower body wake up, isn't it? All right, so let's take these toning balls down with us. And we're just going to set them kind of easy reach in a moment. For right now, we're going to find ourselves on all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. I want to begin with a nice neutral spine. So what's neutral? It's not arching, and it's certainly not flexion. Okay? Neutral is where you have the normal or dotted curve of the lumbar spine, the normal concave curve of the thoracic vertebra, right? Those are shock absorbing curves, and they also help us find that deep core as well. So find that neutral alignment and ask us to keep our feet pointed so your toes are melting into the mat. Then on your next exhale, you're just going to curl only the lower portion of the spine, what we call the lumbar. And then in your mind's eye, find that length neutral position. You want to watch you're not going into excessive extensions. You want to just find that lengthened starting neutral position. Using your abdominals, not your glutes, you round just the lowest portion of the spine and then lengthen that tailbone back to neutral. Now, keep doing that at your own pace with our arms. Let's make sure we're not hyperlocking those elbows. Let's also check in that our shoulder blades are flat on the back of your basket. If you think of lifting the heart between your shoulder blades, you're going to find that nice neutral shoulder girdle stabilization. Just find that nice neutral lower back. Hold that stable now. Now it's the upper portion of the spine, the crown, the head that's going to lead into flexion. So it's a little bit of a brain teaser, or maybe it's both. And then lengthen that spine back to neutral. So if you think about your gently drawing the chin to the chest, you're taking your eyelids, your upper thighs. That's going to help you round just the upper portion of the spine. You're not looking to round the lower portion as well. If you feel those arms getting a little bit of workout, it's okay. Just make sure that you're sharing the weight equally between your hands and your knees the same. And then find reach, length, and intention through the crown of the head so it returns to neutral. Good, let's add both now. So the tailbone and the crown head now are doing the same thing. They're rounding into flexion. The round back is reaching to the ceiling. And then we're going to go ahead and find that flat back. Beautiful. Exhale, tailbone and crown head. Rounding. Breathing out as you exhale. Hold that round back. Keeping the feet pointed. Keeping the head hanging. I'm going to invite you now to float the knees just a 1/4 inch off the ground. Share the weight between the hands and the feet the same. Your tailbone and crown that is still dripping down. Now, from your center, lift your knees and shins maybe up another inch, lower down. Up another inch, lower down. Put a little more weight in your feet if you do not feel your abdominals. Check the tailbone is dripping to the floor. 5. Here for 4. Here for 3. We got 2 more to go. 2. And we're going to lower those knees down. Return to that neutral. Grab your weights or toning balls yet again. Come up to a kneeling tall position. I want you to bring your right foot forward. We're going to get into some chest expansion work. Now I have us on a split stance, kind of alignment versus both knees on the ground so that we can find that core effort just a little bit better. Check in, you've got a nice level belt line, weight shared equally between your front foot and your back leg. And then we're just gonna hold with a parallel grip the weights. You're inhaling to reach those long arms down and back, exhaling to reach those long arms down and forward. Please be cognizant that as you reach the arms back, you don't shift your weight forward more to that front right foot than the back left shin. The left foot is pointed, okay? You feel those left metatarsals and those left toenails melting into the mat. Eye line is straight ahead and you're not looking at the screen. You want to feel the shoulders are broadening nice and wide across the collarbones as you reach those long arms down and back. Fantastic. We're going to go for about 3 more. We do have some changes coming up. Let that inhale again when you're pressing the arms back. Let that inhale help you find length through the spine, lots of energy through the crown of the head. And then exhale to return. We got 2 more like that. Good. Oh, I caught myself elevating my hip. Try to keep that belt line level as possible. We're going to hold the arms back. Now, hold them back. I know you're holding still, but you're still working. Watch with the arms back. This isn't presenting itself. Do you see my shoulders are curving forward? If we think of the inner edges of the shoulder blades drawing into your midline, that's going to keep us nice, wide, and open. The exercise is called chest expansion after all. And then from here, with that connected placement of the shoulder blades, we're going to maintain still upper arm bones as we bend and stretch the elbows. Very nice. Exhaling as you bend the elbows like boomerangs. You see that angle, half a diamond. Inhale as you stretch the arms, absorbing the elbow bones into the triceps. Now this is where we generally can get really fatigued. So when we get fatigued, the last thing we want to do is, again, go back to this, okay? Or let our elbows flare sideways, okay? Rather, maybe you don't go all the way straight with those elbows, okay? It's more about how you're feeling this and the back fire up than it is, can you straighten the elbows all the way? Beautiful. Again, breathing is inhale. We have 1 more change coming up. And bring the arms forward. Palms are facing. Good. I'm going to ask you now to go ahead and just simply flex or curl under the left toes. Again, remember, we're sharing the weight equally between both the front foot and the left foot, putting your mind's eye attention to the top of the inseam, keeping the weight on both the front foot and the back foot the same. You're going to use your low abs to float that back leg up to maybe just a little hover. And then lower, tapping that knee. Real soft, right back up. The idea here again is that we keep our shoulders down directly over the hips. I know it's going to be tempting to do this, right? That's just dominant quad work. We want to get into that pelvic floor. It might also be tempting to come up this high. We don't want to do that. Only lift that back knee up as high as your back ankle. You guys are doing so good, I'm sure. Let's keep that visual line forward. We got 4. This is our last change. We have 3. We're looking for 2. And bring it back down. Let's come on back to a 4-point kneel with only 1 weight. We'll keep the weight in our right hand. So just stow that other one away. Beautiful. So there will be a little unleveling here, right? If you have a weight in your right hand, so your hands aren't at the same level. We'll work around that. Finding that nice neutral alignment that we talked about earlier. We do a little lateral raise, okay? It's still about that mid-back. So you're going to inhale as you sweep that right arm up. Maybe it goes as high as your shoulder. Maybe it doesn't go that high. It doesn't matter how high the knee goes. What matters most is that you're not opening that right chest to the wall on your right, but rather you're keeping the chest square to the floor beneath. So you inhale to sweep that arm up, exhale to lower it down. Can you visualize what's going on? Visualize in your mind's eye and feel what's going on with your mid-back as you float that right arm up. You keep moving at your end. My hand, let's say it's your right shoulder blade. On the back of your rib basket, I want you to feel the right hand, the right shoulder blade is kind of drawing in to your midline as that right arm is lifting laterally. So you feel the lift coming from the mid back. versus a particular muscle in your right arm. Gorgeous. Let's keep that going on. You might also feel the abdominals, especially if you have your knees together and weight is shared equally on the two knees. The reason the abdominals are working is they're preventing this kind of schlump that you see me doing now. My hips are schlumped, or maybe you see me leaning. Those are both incorrect, so your abs are working to prevent that. We have one little layer of challenge coming on. You keep doing what you're doing so well. Inhaling as you lift the arm up, exhaling as you lower down. Let's go ahead and invite via the left booty line, the left leg up. Now we're on a 2-point kneeling experience versus 3-point. Core is working a lot more. Don't worry about how high that leg goes. I do not want any crunch going on in that lower back. Beautiful. Pelvis is squared off. Eye line, you're not looking at the screen, so looking straight down, so your neck is long. Left knee is bent 90 degrees. Hold the right arm up. From that left knee line, maybe little lift and lower. Think more lift than lower, right? All moving from this seam right underneath the left buttock. We're here for 8. Woo, I want you to feel it here too. So make sure you're sharing the weight equally between these 2 remaining points on the mat. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, we're on our back in 1. Woo, awesome. Go ahead and grab your weights, toning balls, or soup cans, whatever you're using today. We're going to do a nice roll up. So we're going to start lying down on the back. Beautiful. We call supine. Just take a moment, take your arms up, have the toning balls facing each other. So your wrists are what we call parallel. Let's just go ahead. One arm crosses by your ear, the other comes down towards your hips. And then transition, like 2 ships passing in the night, equally. And maybe here on the back, you can feel that cross-diagonal sling we talk about so often, right? Feel how the right shoulder speaks to the left rib basket, the left shoulder speaks to the right rib basket, the right rib basket speaks to the left waistline, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's really important to kind of feel that crisscross core activation innervating throughout the torso and pelvis, right? All right, let's move on. We're going to bring both arms up to the ceiling. Beautiful. Let's take the arms towards our head. They don't have to be all over the floor. Let's check in our ribs are not flaring out. We're going to bring the arms up to the sky. Gently draw the chin to the chest. Roll yourself up. And then rotate those wrists and palms up so they're facing the ceiling. When it feels appropriate to do so, you round forward. If you want to bend the knees, that's okay. If you feel like your hamstrings are a little angry with this. And then start to roll back. Now, we want to make sure we're not missing a single vertebra on the way down. So you're rolling down 1 single vertebra at a time. And when it feels appropriate, you'll know when it's the right moment. You'll rotate those wrists once again to face the ceiling. Arms are long, back to where they started. Let's do that with a little more flow. Reach the arms up. And peeling off like the Velcro peeling off a surface. And let's talk breathing. We do it a little faster. We're going to actually inhale as we lower down. We're going to exhale as we peel up. So this increase in speed, for lack of a better word, isn't to try to make things feel frantic. It's just to find this dynamic of an ebb and flow to the movement. And perhaps you feel that your spine is getting extra stretched, okay? Feel how the backside of the body gets longer and longer with each breath. We're going to layer on in just a moment. And let's roll down halfway only. Hold. I'm going to spin around. You stay where you're at. I know you're working. Make sure as you're holding these toning balls or weights, your shoulders are not crowding up. You're not protracting, curving that sternum. You want to keep wide collarbones here. Hold everything. Excellent. And then back to working unilaterally. I'd like us to keep that C curve in our lumbar spine. Float only the left arm out. Prevent rotation, though, no rotation. Exhale, bring that left arm back in. Let's take it to the other side. The right arm goes out. Now, I know you're tempted to kind of twist your chest to the right. Don't do that. And then offer that arm back in, right? There's a lot going on. If you want to really feel extra challenge, keep your fingertips nice and long as you do it. Good. Lots of length underside of the legs. Feet are flexed as if you were trying to push the wall away with your feet. Beautiful. Looking straight ahead. We have one more each way. Got a little extra credit challenge here. You're going to bring it back from your low abs, 1 inch below the belly button. You're going to go back a 1/4 inch. From those low abs, come forward a 1/4 inch. Just go back a 3/4 inch and coming forward. I'm going to turn around. You keep moving. This is our last change. So give it all you got. Come back just a tiny bit and forward. Good. Keeping the fingers open. Feel like the weights in your hand are lighter than they actually are. We're here for 4. We're here for 3. We're here for 2. And we're here for 1. Let's bring it all the way up. Lots of things got a good workout there. All right. So let's get on back to that 4-point meal. And we have that lateral single arm raise for the left side. Okay. So the weight, the toning ball, whatever you happen to be using, under your left, in your left hand. Starting at 4-point meal, knees under hips, hands relatively under shoulders, and you want to have your legs and feet together. So initially, no leg between the legs. Okay? Beautiful. All right. So you might discover one side doesn't match the other. That's okay. We're going to lengthen that left arm up. It's irrelevant how high that arm becomes. And then exhale, lower that left arm. Now, I definitely feel a different experience on my own body. But that just makes the exercise more unique and cool. All right, nothing to get frustrated by. Try your best. I actually feel my abs more here, right? Because I think my abs want to help things out. My torso wants to turn, and actually my abs are preventing and working hard to prevent that rotation. So you want to keep both of your chest muscles square to the floor beneath you. And also avoid veering weight slightly to your right kneecap more than your left. And if we just glance briefly down at our right elbow, it sometimes is easy to hyperlock when we're doing weight-bearing exercises to find a little micro crease in that right elbow. And if you do that, I'm pretty sure you're going to feel that mid-back muscle group flare up a little extra more. Use the inhale, your breath, to inspire the movement, to invite that left arm to lengthen out more than to rise up, okay? Okay, so we have that one challenge coming up. You guys are ready for it. We're going to do 2 more of what you're currently doing. And then we're going to raise that right leg up via the booty line under the right hip. Let's go ahead and hold. Let's take that right leg up. Let's continue with that left arm lateral raise. Now we're sharing the weight, hopefully equally, between the right hand and the left knee. The abs, the more superficial abs are firing to prevent this hammock sagging happening, or that can happen if we're not aware, in the lower back. So we're going to keep that support, that stability. Beautiful. You can do arm and leg moving together or opposite, like I'm doing right now. Client's choice. Let's go for 2 more. Hold the left leg up, hold the right leg up, hold the left arm off. From that booty line under the right crease of the buttock. We're going to give you little pulses. Tiny. Ooh, lots of stuff working. We're here for 8, 7, 6, 5. Don't forget to smile. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back down. Really nicely done. So let's get that chest expansion done with some variety on the other side. So we got a dumbbell or weight in each hand. This time I'm going to offer us to have that left foot forward, what we call a split stance proposal lunge. Right foot is starting off pointed. We're going to begin that series from the beginning. Instead of holding with a parallel grip, I'm going to offer you this. I want us to find a supinated forearm grip. So you'll see the wrist is facing forward. That's a little different than before. Beautiful. And we're going to take the arms down and back as we breathe in. And exhale, reach those mom arms, still in supination forward. So this is a more unfamiliar grasp for most of us. All the more reason to do it. Good. You might feel a little more fatigued sooner than you did on that previous side, but that's all good. Don't forget to check in once in a while to see that your belt line is level. You're not letting that left hip lurch up. I want to keep it dropped. And we change my advantage here, my profile again. Remember the importance of finding that expansion across the chest as those long arms reach down and back, right? So often this wants to happen. Or another culprit to avoid is that tendency to start to turn the wrist in as they journey back. Want to keep that full supination, inhaling to reach down and back, exhaling to reach down and forward. Beautiful. We have 2-3 changes coming up, same as on the first side. Let's go ahead and hold the arms back. Excellent. Now, instead of a tricep focus, I'm going to add a bicep focus. So we bring the arms forward. We're going to bend the elbows to 90 degrees. Exhale, extend those arms nice and long. Inhale, as you bend the elbows to 90 degrees. Again, we're looking to watch out for this kitten paw situation. And then we're extending those arms nice and long. Beautiful. And if possible, keep the elbows up as high as your shoulders. If it does feel aggressive, you can bring them down. Most important thing is that you keep the upper arm bone, which we call the humerus, still in space. You're finding more than just a bicep workout coming on. You want to feel and discover these muscles are definitely working hard again to prevent hypermobility. You want to keep that shoulder girdle stabilization intact. Low abs are working as well, upper abs as well, to prevent the rib basket from flaring forward or the shoulders from tipping back. Good, we've got 2 more. Was that a little challenge here? Hold it right there with the collarbone wide. I'm going to ask us to do little tiny presses. Now remember, let's feel long in the back line of the body. It's so easy when we focus on the arms to kind of just dump back here like I'm doing now. I want you to feel, you keep moving, and I know you're working, I applaud you for that. When you feel the back line of your body stretching, like if you had a wetsuit on, the zipper is zipping from your sacrum. As you're doing these arm pulses, the zipper is zipping from your sacrum all the way to the base of your skull. So you feel that traction stretch of length occurring in the back side of your body. Good, you guys, we don't have too many more. Do you notice how when you lift the elbows up, it's due in part to the shoulder blades gliding down. You feel that mid-back connection. It's very rich. When you go for 3, get to bring these arms down. That's the good news in 2, but we have one more change. Just bring those arms down. Collarbones are wide. Upper arms and elbows are absorbed into your side. I'd like you to now flex your right toes under. Remember, we're going to share the weight equally between the front foot and the back foot. Kind of putting your mind's eye at the top of your inseam. Use the top of your inseam to float that back right knee. Oh, are your shoulders still over your right knee? And then we're going to do a little tap. Woo! Want to be extra spicy? Add a little external rotation of the shoulder joint. Arms, forearms open like saloon doors. But do remember to keep the weight equal on the front foot and the back foot the same. We're going for 3. We're looking for 2. We're back on our backs and 1 more. And we grew. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's get a little more waistline work. I'm a big lover of waistline. So let's put the weights off to the side. And we're going to lie down supine once again on our back. We're going to go ahead and find what we talked about earlier. That neutral spine and pelvis. It can be accomplished as on our back as well. Good. And then we're going to take our legs up one at a time into tabletop. And just to remind you, when you lift your legs to tabletop, you want to have your knees living over your hips versus knees crowding into your chest, okay? This way you can feel those thigh bones slipping deep into the domes of the pelvis where they're received by the lower abdominals, okay? We're floating the arms up. And guys, we're going to go ahead and just keep the arms open. I want you to float your hair maybe 3/4 of an inch off the floor. Now, I know you want to look at me in the screen. If you can, just hear my verbal cueing. Eyes are on the ceiling. Arms are wider than shoulder width, palms facing one another.
I realize you might be feeling those muscles on the front side of the neck. That's totally intentional. They're a good muscle to work right now. Let them speak to your upper abdominals. Keep both shoulder blades anchored to the mat. You're going to tilt your tabletop legs slightly to the left and then come back to center. So the goal here is not shift to one shoulder blade more than the other. As you take your tabletop legs, this time to the right, use your waistline to come back to center. Now, I know you want to draw your chin to the chest and look at what you're doing, but I want you to keep that hair just maybe 3/4 of an inch off the mat, eyeballs at the ceiling. So you feel that spine is long, you feel that rich connection to your neck flexors. A little goes a long way. This won't be a big tilt, okay? You know you're moving right if you keep both shoulder blades equally anchored to the mat. Okay, we have just one more each way. Exhale to return. Last one. Inhaling. Bring your legs back to tabletop, hands behind your thighs, chin to your chest. Pull your knees into your chest just to stretch everything. And now I'm just going to rock up to sitting. You're going to get rolling like a ball, and then we'll start to cool things down. Okay, so let's move towards the front edge of your mat. So you have plenty of space behind you. You're going to place your hands on your ankles, big toes glued together. Though we're rounded throughout the spine, let's find that connection again of our shoulders. We're not living with our shoulders pinned up by our heels. We start the movement not haphazardly, not using a lot of reckless momentum, but rather we start the movement by simply teeny tiny rolling the front of the pelvis away from the front of the femurs to go just on the tips of the shoulder blades, and then our abdominals fire to bring us back up to balance. So there's quite a lot of intention in this movement. If you've done this a lot in the past, I know it's easy to think of it as a throwaway where you're just kind of rocking about like I'm doing now. This might feel good, but it's not the most challenging abdominals the way I was just doing it. So we want to make sure we're initiating the movement. You can keep moving on your end by rolling the front of the pelvis away from the front of the femurs, rocking just to the bottom tips of our shoulder blades, and then engaging the abs to come back up. Never putting weight or pressure on the neck. The big toes are glued together. The knees are open about shoulder width apart. You're creating your own closed kinetic chain when you do this. And yes, eye line is down at your pelvis the whole time, even when you rock back and when you rock up. Let's go for 2 more. We got 1 more to go. And bring it back. All right, let's get a little more weight-bearing work done. And then we'll start to cool it down. I swear to God. We're going to go ahead and find ourselves with one arm. Let's have our toning ball or weight in the left arm. And we're going to get ready for a little side plank. Okay? So we want to have our knees bent. The less close the feet are, or I should say the hips are to the wrists, the more you'll get a nicer stretch in that bottom waist spine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and extend the hips so you can feel that stretch on the top side. You've got your bottom right waist lifting away. Take your left arm up. There's a nice long line from your top arm to your bottom arm. And we're going to have a little circumduction here. Keep the pelvis and legs quiet. You're going to thread that waist slightly across your supporting forearm. Come back to nice and lateral. Okay? Let's try that. So I'm going to have you actually inhale as you're flexing here. Exhale as you come back. Good. Let's layer on in just a couple reps. So we're inhaling, twisting that upper rib basket, and then exhale as you unfurl. And then let's add a little reach here. Inhale as you side bend. Exhale, find that nice T. Let's make that pattern one more time. I'm going to go ahead and curl. Thread that top arm with the weight under your supporting arm. Come back to center. Inhale. And return. Beautiful. We're gonna take it into a forearm plank. Do not need the weights for this, just keep it high. We're gonna bring both of our elbows and forearms onto the mat. One long line from the heels to the crown of the head. And I'd like you to rotate again, supinated forearms. Your wrists and palms are facing the sky. Now, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and tap your left big toe to the edge of your mat and bring that leg back into your midline. Alternate, other leg goes outbound. Bring that leg back into your midline. As you're doing this, keep your shoulders over your elbows. Have the entire backhand of both hands absorbing into your mat. You don't want the palms suddenly turning in. Heart is lifted between the two shoulder blades. And there's this long oppositional reach between the crown of your head and your tailbone. Now we're moving our leg away from midline by tilting that leg's femur head inbound inside the dome of the pelvis. So the movement's initiation is proximal. Then feel the inner thighs magnetizing to bring that leg back. Woo! Don't forget to breathe. And I hope you're smiling. I certainly am. One more each way. Nice one. And then lower the knees down. Take a quick moment, go into a child's pose. And let's get that side weight bearing exercise done for the other side. So, you can go ahead and find your knees stacked atop each other. Not too narrow of a space between your supporting hand and your hip. And the weight is now held in your right hand. Good, really magnetize those two outer thighs together. We come up into that nice long T. And then let's think of scraping the inside of a cylinder with your right knuckles. Exhale as you come back to that one T. Inhale, find space between the vertebrae to create this rotation. Exhale to come out of that. Let's go one more time and then we'll add on that extra side bend. Exhale as you unfurl. Inhale, stretch. Fan the right rib basket to the ceiling. Come out of that slightly. Let's add that rotation. Pelvis and legs are quiet. Out of that. Fan the right rib basket to the ceiling. Let's do one more for extra credit. Okay? Exhaling as you come out of the rotation. Inhaling as you create this nice side. All right, beautiful. Well, let's come on back up to standing, everybody. And we're going to finish with a nice cool down, all right? We're going to take ourselves into a nice wide second position stance. Still and turn out, a little wider than we started class. Hands on our hips, let's go into a nice plie here. Again, we're back to finding those inner lines of the inner thighs spiraling. Good, beautiful. And then we're going to stretch ourselves up tall and vertical. Fantastic. So you're exhaling to lower down. Navel's pulling in and up. Crown of the head is lifting you back up to standing. Two more like that. Do a little balance transfer. Just to cool things down and get you going on your way. From here, take your weight to one foot. A little shallow plie, take your weight to the other. And keep alternating. This doesn't have to be crazy fast, like some kind of a cardio workout. Maybe we would have done that more at the top. This is more to get the heart rate down and to find that buoyancy, okay? Find that rootedness back to the earth. Good. Feel that tallness we've been exploring all workout. You can add a little arm swing. Good. Or not. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with choreography, okay? If you're like, wait, where does my hand go? What? Just keep your hands on your hips. Maybe just add a little twist of the chest. But if you're feeling released, you can work with gravity and add that little arms. I have wet spaghetti noodles on. Good. Take a couple more. Increase more rotation, whatever your body's asking of you. And let's bring it back to standing. back to our heels together, toes apart, just like we started at the top of the class. We float the arms up. This time we're going to extend the spine. Come back to nice and vertical. And when I say extend the spine, I'm really talking about just the upper portion. Back to vertical. So if I show you the profile, you'll see I don't want to crunch back in my low back. I'm just simply extending that upper spine. Careful not to haphazardly throw the head backwards. Come tall and vertical. Let's do that one more time. Lift your chest to the heavens. Come back to tall and vertical. Bring the arms down. And I applaud you. Thank you so much. You were all so wonderful. And it's been my pleasure doing this workout with you. Thank you.